Hi, Facebook Kids Church friends. How are you today? I've got a story to tell you. So there was this old man who was sitting on a bench in a park, and he was minding his own business, watching the birds, when a little boy came running up and sat on the bench next to him. The old man didn't think anything of it, and he kept watching the birds. But pretty soon he noticed that little boy was squirming all over, making funny faces and just wiggling around and, making crazy faces. And the old man looked to the little boy and said, "What's wrong? Is there something bothering you?" He says, "Yes, I just sat on a bee." And the man says, "Well, why don't you get up?" And the little boy said, "Well, I think I'm hurting him more than he's hurting me." Isn't that a crazy story? That little boy was more interested in hurting the bee than in stopping his own pain. Today we're talking about forgiveness. And sometimes we're like that little boy. Someone does something to us and it hurts us. Maybe not our bodies, maybe it hurts our heart. Maybe we get our feelings hurt. And instead of forgiving them, we try to get even. We try to figure out how we can hurt them back. But that's not what God wants us to do. And today we're going to see in the story of Joseph what God wants us to do when someone hurts us. Joseph was in his throne room and his brothers were there, and they did not know who Joseph was. Joseph asked all the servants to leave the throne room, and it was just him and his brothers. Remember, Joseph only had the Pharaoh more powerful than him in all of Egypt. But Joseph didn't use that power to hurt his brothers. He asked them to come close, and he said, "I am Joseph, the one you sold into slavery." You notice that Joseph didn't pretend that nothing was wrong. He didn't say, "I'm your brother, hey, let's go get some pizza." No, he acknowledged that they had done something wrong. We can't pretend that when people do bad things, they haven't done those bad things. If we do, that doesn't give them a chance to make a change. Joseph did say, "Yes, you did wrong. You sold me into slavery." But he was offering them forgiveness. The second thing we need to do is not take the blame for when someone else does something wrong. Joseph could have said, "I know you sold me into slavery, but it was my fault. I shouldn't have worn that coat. I shouldn't have told you about my dreams. It was all my fault. If I were you, I would have done the same thing." No, that's not what we do. They had done wrong. When we do something wrong, we should take the blame for it, and we should say, "Yes, I have done something wrong," and acknowledge that. But when someone else has done the wrong, we shouldn't take the wrong on ourselves. So Joseph said, "Yes, you have done something wrong. I acknowledge you've done something wrong. It was not me that did it." But then the other thing he did, he blessed them. That's the hardest part, because when someone does something wrong to us, we really want them to get something back, right? Something bad back in return. But what God says and what Joseph did was bless them. He said, "Here is the food you need. Come live in Egypt. I will take care of you. Our family will be blessed." And he forgave them. And he moved on. He showed love to his brothers. He showed kindness to his brothers, even though he acknowledged that they had done wrong. Maybe someone has hurt you. Maybe someone has said things or done things that have really hurt you. But you know what? You can offer forgiveness with God's help. We could say, "God, I am sorry that I have wanted to have revenge on the person that hurt me. Help me to be kind and bless them, God." And you know what? God will help you, even though that can be a very difficult thing to do. So this week, let's think of someone that may have hurt us. Maybe we can't go to them right now because we're at home and we can't say, "I forgive you and let's be friends again," or let's try to make things right. But we can pray and say, "God, when I think of that person, help me to not be angry. Help me to not bring hurt on myself and get so frustrated I can't sleep or my tummy hurts. God, I want to offer forgiveness. and let it go and let God take care of it. Just like Joseph did. And then when we're able to see our friends again, then we can go to them and say, I want to let you know, I have forgiven you. You know, you did this thing to me, but I'm not going to be angry, and I'm not going to let it hurt me or you again. And I'm offering my forgiveness to you, and then we could move on. That's what God wants us to do, because our memory verse says, because God has forgiven us, we must forgive others, just like Joseph and his brothers. Tomorrow we're going to practice our memory verse again, and we're going to sing a song that we haven't sung in a while. We're going to be singing Waymaker. I know you guys love that song, and so be ready for it. I will see you tomorrow, Facebook Kids Church friends. I love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.